So you would spend $12 million to get rid of $61,000 in question costs.
I think that,
Can you answer yes or no, then explain?
at the time, we hadn't spent that money, as much money as you're saying.
Well, you contracted to spend it, right?
It was contracted.
Okay. And according to the document that we looked at, that was supposed to be a one-time payment, right, of $12 million?
No,
According to the document, not according to you, but according to the document. How many payments does it say y'all were gonna make to ACS?
on that paper, it says one payment.
So you would spend $12 million to get rid of $61,000 in fraud or question costs?
No, because I do not think that we know about all of the instances of fraud that are happening in the state.
But how long you been in your job as director?
For 4 years.
Okay, and it's your job to go out there and find the fraud. That's one of your responsibilities, correct?
If I don't object, this is outside the scope of the economic impact statement and procedures used to draft the economic impact statement.
Yeah, one of the reasons that they say they're moving to this system is to wipe out fraud and to address fraud. So this goes directly to the need of whether there are less intrusive methods for getting the information that they need. They claim they need time and attendance. And here, you know, they've been all on the radio, Rick Barry talking about.
Okay, well, let me just address the objection right now.
As to the objection, Your Honor, she testified that fraud was one of the things they considered running the system. The system is not fully implicated in place yet. So obviously, this line of questioning about how much you detected in the past is not relevant. They've clearly identified there has been fraud in the past. One of the stated goals of this program is to further track time and attendance of children, but it is impossible to estimate going forward how much of that will be eliminated. But that is simply a consideration that went into the development of the program, which is what was required under the economic impact statement. So asking the witness how much fraud will be eliminated going forward, or how much was eliminated in the past based over a system that's not currently in place, I think is simply misleading.
All right, in terms of determining substantial compliance, it is a fact-sensitive question, and I'm going to give a broad leeway here on making that factual determination, so I'm going to overrule the objection.
So you can answer.
That's one of the reasons that we want to implement biometrics is because, and we haven't implemented it completely yet. We've only implemented in-home providers. And so one of the things that we feel like we can do through this program is be able to identify fraud and be able to serve children that actually need the services that are not being served now than those that may be misusing the certificates.
But there are other ways to identify fraud, correct, Dr. Dent?
Not with the integrity of biometrics.
So Mississippi would lead the nation first or second in an issue related to child care by identifying fraud? Because the other states you testified, they use EBT and they get rid of fraud.
Right, we would be the second state in the nation that would use biometrics.
But in order to justify spending $12 million that could go for child care certificates, wouldn't you want to know before you expended that kind of public money how much fraud you've already if any?
We realized through the investigations and through the information that's sent to our office for, program integrity to go investigate it, there are occurrences of fraud in the certificate program.
But according to this document that you say you helped to put together for 2012, it didn't list any fraud, did it, for the child care certificate program? It listed question costs. Correct?
Right.
Okay. And there's a difference between fraud and question costs, right?
Those were substantiated cases.
Okay. But is there a difference between fraud and question costs?
There is not a difference between substantiated cases and question cost.
No, my question is there a difference between fraud and question costs?
Identified fraud?
Any kind of fraud. Is there a difference between fraud and question costs?
No.
Okay. So fraud is, tell me what question costs is.
That's where the case of fraud is substantiated.
Or where you question whether monies that were paid should have been paid.
Those were substantiated cases of fraud.
Was that as a result of what? Overpayment? Underpayment, or what?
No, it was, substantiated cases.
Okay, and when you have a substantiated case of fraud, it's your job to send that information on over to the Attorney General's office so these people can be prosecuted, correct?
Object was the relevance of this line of questioning at this point.
No, negative.
Our program integrity office works with the Attorney General's office.
And do you know of anybody who was prosecuted in 2012 for committing fraud on the child care certificate program?
The question cost of $61,675 were they either had to pay the money back, and if they went, if something else happened with them, or garnishments, or whatever happened, the Attorney General's office was involved in that, as well as program integrity. At that level, I'm not in that day-to-day business of taking the money back from whoever committed fraud.
Now, you don't see anything in the report about the money being paid back, do you? And that's included in the reports for other programs when they recover the money, right? Or if somebody had to pay it back, correct?
There was a resulted, recovered, funds of $21,580.
If you would turn to page 36. In 2011, what amount of question costs did you have related to the child care certificate program?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
What amount of question costs was there in the 2011 report related to the child care certificate program?
$596,000.
Now, is that related to a sub-grant?
That was for sub-grants.
Okay, so that 500,000 was not child care certificate, right?
Correct. The question cost for certificates was $96,000.
And how much was recovered?
$17,000.
I move to have this document entered into.
Object the relevance.
Just the relevance,
Yes.
okay.
specified earlier that under e-ledger, you were already able to pay child care providers more than once a month, correct?
We
Once you
have-
moved to e-ledger, you were able to pay more than once a month.
We have the ability to pay them, if they missed one timeline, we could pay them at a different point in that month,
So that's more than one time a month, correct?
but not to the same center.
Not to the same extent?
Not to the same center. So if a provider goes into the system and finishes their e-ledger, then they are paid for that previous month of cost at that time. We didn't issue two checks to pay for the previous month's cost, it was just within that one check.
So under this new system, you said they're gonna get more frequent payments each month?
Yes,
Okay, and you're telling us that you did not have the ability to do that under e-ledger? If you would read
Right.
that sentence, Dr. Dent, that last sentence right there, beginning with Mississippi e-Childcare.
the e-Childcare will allow for faster, more frequent payments each month via direct deposit.
And we're talking about, this is for e-Childcare finger scanning, correct?
Yes.
And if you would read the last sentence of, under impact on small businesses.
That the system will allow faster payments and if needed, 2 payments a month instead of 1.
So both systems provided for faster payments.
Yes,
Okay.
because e-ledgers, we could process the payments from the 5th of, well, we started processing them at the 6th of the month. And we've tried to get them in the mail, usually around the 9th.
Okay, now you say that, how many childcare, licensed childcare centers are there in Mississippi?
They're licensed or right now are about 1,200.
1,200. And how many in-home providers, do you have, who use the childcare certificate?
Right now,
Yes.
about 400.
Okay, so then, where are you getting this number that there are about 3,500 people, small businesses that are gonna be affected by the proposed regulation?
At the time, that was, 1,200 licensed centers and 2,300 in-home providers that we had as approved providers.
So what happened to the 2,300, unlicensed providers? It dropped from 2,300 to 500?
Yes, we implemented, the, e-Childcare June 1st for unlicensed providers.
And, the cost of insuring the equipment, you didn't list that as a probable impact on small businesses, did you?
If that was their wish to insure it for their business.
And you didn't list the cost that it would, that they might incur if the property was destroyed or damaged?
No.
Okay, and how much does it cost?
They're about $1,000 for both pieces.
The paper that's generated, there is some paper generated, to run these machines, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, under the Xerox contract, the childcare providers were gonna have to pay for that paper, correct?
They purchase it, but they're reimbursed for the paper.
But that's still a cost, right?
But they're reimbursed for the paper. They're reimbursed for the cost.
Is it, they have to purchase the paper out of pocket?
Yes.
Okay.
But they are reimbursed.
Okay, did you include that cost?
No.
And did you include any cost for people having to travel to, receive the training?
It's via internet.
So you don't
It's
have to
a
go
webinar.
anywhere? What about people having to go to different sites for training?
Guess that would be up to them if they do not have
they have to get the
They would
training,
have to
right?
go to a library or somewhere to go through the webinar training.
Now, in either one of those, annual reports that we looked at, are you aware of any information that you provided for the annual report that, outlined false attendance?
What attendance?
False attendance.
Not in the annual report.
And so you estimate that you would save $15 to $18 million annually on false attendance?
That's what we're estimating. It was an estimate.
And what is that based on? Where did you get that figure from?
It was in our cost benefit analysis and the studies we conducted.
Okay, where is that cost benefit analysis? Because you were supposed to, share that in the report, correct?
It's through the research that we did, through the several months of research that we conducted.
The purpose of the economic impact statement is to share with the public the information that you use to arrive to come up with the economic impact statement, right?
Right.
Okay.
We're sharing the information, yes.
Yeah, and there is nothing in this economic impact statement to support the $15 to $18 million, savings that you claim that you would, receive if you are able to eliminate false attendance claims. Right?
It was in our estimations of our research.
Would that be a benefit? That would be a benefit if you're able to save $8 million, right? 18 million.
To be able to serve more children.
Yeah. And how many claims of false attendance do we have in Mississippi right now to allow you to come up with this $15 to $18 million figure?
Those were estimates that we conducted in the research and based off of the information learned through other states.
Okay, so these numbers don't come from Mississippi, anything that was happening in Mississippi related to false attendance claims by child care providers, correct?
That was based off of the research. It wasn't other states' numbers. It was based on our research in comparison.
Okay, so in order to realize a $15 million to $18 million savings by eliminating false attendance claims, you would have to have some false attendance claims, right? Some false attendance claims in Mississippi.
We feel that there is,
Look, you feel what? You feel that there is?
we feel that there are more occurrences of false attendance claims than what we are able to prove.
Okay. But at DHS, in your job as director, you don't operate that department based on what you feel, do you? You go out and get raw data to support.
From our research,
Okay.
that's what we,
And you've not shared any of that under methodology. You haven't shared any of that, have you? The data. Where is the data that supports the $15 to $18 million savings? Because the economic impact statement says that you were supposed to provide a detailed statement of the data and methodology used in making estimates required by this subsection. So what was the data and what was the methodology?
we used estimates based off of other experiences through other states to be able to project the cost savings.
So you didn't use any information from your own state to arrive at the projections, to arrive at that $15 to $18 million. You went to other states, and that's the data that you used, something from Louisiana. Whose data did you use?
From Louisiana,
And, say contacted, did you call them on the telephone?
We had, conversations with them, and we also went and visited them as well.
And you don't have any data in here about the amount that Louisiana actually, saved due to the elimination of false attendance claims, do you?
Not in this document.
And that's what you were supposed to provide, correct? A detailed statement of the data and the methodology. That would include, if you're gonna use Louisiana's data, you were supposed to provide that data in the statement, right?
Objection, Your Honor, it's a mischaracterization of what the document says about what was supposed to be provided. There's nothing that says, what should have made up the data and methodology. The document speaks for itself, so I would object to the mischaracterization of what she says it requires.
I'm open with it, the witness can answer if she disagrees with the form of the question. Why don't you go ahead and answer?
Now, this detailed statement, according to item 10, you were supposed to provide a detailed statement of the data and methodology that you used in making the estimates required by this subsection, correct?
That's what I felt like I did.
Well, you didn't provide details about any data that you collected from Louisiana, did you?
I did not.
Okay. And that's what the statement called for, a detailed statement of the data, correct?
That's what question 10 asks, is the detailed statement of the data and methodology used in making estimates required by the subsection.
And is it your testimony that you have the detail, but you didn't put it in the economic impact statement?
I have, we have the data from, Louisiana. They saved $36 million.
But you just elected not to put it in the statement, when the statement required that.
I was writing about our estimated savings.
Okay. Right here, it asks you, what does it ask you to do, Dr. Dent?
Provide a detailed statement of the data and methodology used in making estimates required by the subsection.
And you failed to do that.
I reported what I thought was going to be the detailed statement of Mississippi.
What methodologies did Louisiana, use?
How, I mean, what are you talking about?
For estimating how much money they were going to save as if they could eliminate, false attendance claims.
I don't know what they use.
Well, you said you used that same methodology to come up with the estimates for Mississippi, but you don't know what Louisiana used?
They had an actual savings of $36 million the first year they implemented.
Now, you've not shared or posted any of those documents on DHS's website or anywhere for the public to view that, right?
No.
Okay. And you said that you used their numbers to come up with your numbers, but you don't know what methodology they used to come up with their 36 million, didn't it? It was your responsibility to get the data and the methodology from Louisiana if you were gonna use it in support of your economic impact statement, correct? And is your testimony today that you don't know what data or methodology Louisiana used, correct?
I don't know what methodology they used for their projections. I understand what they actually saved.
And how do you arrive at the fact that you will be able to serve 7,000 to 9,000 additional children if you realize, is that if you realize the savings of $15 million to $18 million?
Yes.
And that's billing out, how much would you be paying for each child?
An average of $2,400 a year.
Okay, and that's at $635 per child?
That's the cost certificate.
And where is Xerox's money gonna come from? I mean, are they gonna get any of this 15 to $18 million?
That